Hat day, hat day. Y'all are silly. And I love you for it. Y'all did good. Hat day payouts. Hat day payouts. So the working theory is if I come straight from the podcast, I'm likely to have a hat on. Because I wear the big headphones for the podcast. And sometimes I just put on a hat because it makes my hair funky. Emberent, 13 months of subbing. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Brad, a good ink for the Estabrook candy would be Diatramenous Pearlescent Brilliant Violet Copper. I need to check that out. That seems like an awesome ink. I do have a podcast. I have recorded 509 episodes of a podcast about pens. It's called the Pen Addict Podcast. Brooks, 23 months of subbing. Let's go. We're gonna be writing with this pen on stream today. Blippity bloop, right? Slark scent. That is the Pen Addict. The Pen Addict. It is what I do. I write a blog called The Pen Addict. I podcast. I stream about pens. Give me a link to that Diatramenous copper purpley blurpley thing. I don't know who would want to listen to a podcast about pens. It's crazy. Crazy. Oh, we showed off Love Potion 999 yesterday. Drumful, 3 months of subbing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Everyone was a big fan of Love Potion 999 yesterday. I think I still have it within reach if we need to see that again. Oh, look at that. There you go. Let me send that to Kathy right now while I'm thinking about it. Oh, here, I'll show y'all. Diatramenous copper shimmers have particles that are a titch too big. Be cautious. Cautious. Nice. I do like a microfine sample. I got a new bathrobe shirt. I'll wear it when it's cooler. I got like a hoodie t-shirt type of thing, like a real thin hoodie. So, yeah. They work in your spoke icon. What nib? Nib is the key. All right, let me send this to Kathy. One sec because I will forget. Sorry, I know y'all don't want to hear me keep clacking. But if I don't do that now, I will forget. Are you getting the crazy storms down there, Brad? No, not today. Tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon. How do people like Venta inks? I am very, very. I do make a living from the Pen Addict thing, but I've been doing it a long time. So the Venta inks are pretty popular. There's one called Armada. That's my favorite Venta ink. It's a very unique color and shade. Venta does a lot of non-standard colors, and they're generally well received. So, yeah, I'm a +1 on Venta. So yeah, storms. We're gonna be okay this week. It was last week that was a nightmare. But we'll see. We'll see. Thanks for checking it out. This is amazing. Just wait till I turn on the desk camera. This is nothing. So we're gonna talk about some weird stuff today. Rewizzles 100 bits. Thank you so much. Drumfool, did I get you? 3 months of subbing. Appreciate you. He does in a bunch of different ways. Brad hustles hard. You know me. Big hustler. Okay, what ink should I put in a Parker Vac? You should buy Waterman if you don't have Waterman. I always use like Mysterious Blue. Tomorrow we'll do jet pens because I'm not going to be able to stay that long today. Tomorrow we'll do jet pens because I got the architecty nib for the Lamy. So I'll have to get another. I'll have to ink up another Lamy Safari, or I could just swap the nib on this one, I guess. So we'll test that out, and I'll also we'll do a preview of tomorrow. Thanks for answering my entomology question about the naming the fountain pen. I didn't know, right? So we did you listen to today's show? We had the follow up today, so that I didn't. I mean, I assumed as much, right? But I didn't know for sure. So, let me tease y'all. Yeah. Okay. Good. Then we led with that. Let me tease y'all with what we're gonna do tomorrow. What ink should I put in an Edison Nocturne? What is a Nocturne? Is that the material color? Do you have a link to the material color? I don't know that one offhand. While I grab what we're going to do tomorrow. I haven't even opened all this stuff. Bucket pens. No spoilers, I know. All right, I'll show you what we're going to do tomorrow. Aside from these pens. Thank you, Boss Baker Chris. We're going to do this tomorrow, which contains this. Foglietto. So I haven't even opened them yet to see if they're any good or what the deal is. Okay, I'll pull that link up as soon as I get back. So, and we'll do like a sample pack of cards or something for a giveaway or something, since they come in these big bricks. What size are these? So we'll explore these tomorrow. They're just like index cards and note cards. So I got that, and I got it with the box. And then they have a cardboard box model too. So I haven't opened any of this stuff yet, so we'll see what all is in here later. So I like this box because they also they have an index on the outside of the box. Anyway, that's tomorrow's stream. Can you send a brick my way? Questionable. But I know you are the note card person as well, so yeah, I probably will. Yeah, I'll send you some. I have other stuff I need to send you anyway, so I will do that. Let me look at this ink for Dixie. Ooh, that's a cool color. Oh, let me pull this up. Sorry, let me click this link. So, I mean, if you're going like the matchy route, like I'm a big fan of Papier Plume Oyster, which is a gray, or Kyo. If you want black, you can do Kyo no Oto Nurabiro, which I just inked up in my Lamy Safari. So, if you want alternate colors, like I like bright blues and black pens generally. Yeah, I'll send you a sampling. Like my first inclination would be Papier Plume Oyster, just to keep that kind of gray theme going. Outside of that, I'm going like bright blues, like your Conpeckies. I tend to like that with a lot of my blackish gray pens, using a bright blue or a purple. Like Sailor 224 is purplish, right? I do like the purples. So, my new Grail pen is the Wall Eversharp Doric, but I'm undecided about the color. They had a really pretty one that I picked up at the Atlanta Pen Show, but I don't know the color. You'd have to send me a link. It was almost like a nuclear green. I'd never seen one that big, but with like a nuclear green. Matchy isn't a hard, fast rule. That's why I said I would go with like a blue, like a bright blue, like a Conpecky type blue. Can you tell Esty that they need to make that blue and white prototype into a production model? I mean, as soon as I put this up on Instagram, it's probably not going to be, probably not going to go well for them. Hey, just a reminder that you're enough and doing well. Keep going. Thank you, LAXOX. everyone should read that and believe that. Believe it or not, I don't really use index cards. I'm doing reviews for all the folks out there that use them. There is a lot of people that use them. A lot of people that use them. Glad I'm not the only one who likes to match ink to pen color. So I'm either like matchy or complementary is generally my move. Yeah, this is the one I saw, Greg. I picked this one up at the show. I mean, like physically, not purchased it. Look at that. That thing is huge. That thing's like this big. But I thought the color was awesome. I mean, that's a me pen, except it's really, really too big of a pen for me. But Greg, Namiki Winter Vlad likes the bigger pens. Like, that's definitely a U pen. Oh, shoot. I wanted to keep that up. What are the other colors? So, Jet Black, Burma, Morocco, Black and Pearl. So, standard black. These are just nice pens. Is that a two-tone nib? Or is that just the lighting? That's a cool color. Red. I don't know, it might surprise you. Out of the non-nuclear colors, I like the Burma the best. Oddly enough, for some reason. Yeah, that's just the lighting. It's not a two-tone nib. For some reason, outside of the nuclear green, I kind of like that one. Has anyone here used Sight's Kruznak inks? Dark Orchid is one of the poppiest colors I've ever seen, and their cinnamon has to... No, I have not. Do you have any links to that? That pen costs more than my first 4 vehicles combined. These are not cheap pens by any stretch. They have a lot of manufacturing that goes into these. That's pretty cool. I've always liked these pens. They're just too big for me. I can't use them. So yeah, very cool. All right. Just straight from Germany. Oh, let me look up this ink. Okay, no, I hadn't used any of these. Which one did you like? The purple one? Plum. Which color did you like? Dark Orchid. Do I have samples? No samples. It's just a really, really bright purple. That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to... We'll keep an eye out, see if I can get some one of these days. Sun Yellow. Cognac. I guess I don't have samples of these. No. But yeah, we'll give them a shot. We will give them a shot. Anyone have any yellow ink Rex? Yeah. Y'all know what I'm going to say. Y'all know what I'm going to say. Helantheus is good. Y'all know what I'm going to say. This is my favorite. That's my favorite yellow. Because it's a pretty rich color. Like, it's not really watered down. Urban Ombre de Burmani. I have to check that one out. Yeah, Helianthus is definitely one that's very, very recommended. But I don't know. For some reason, this ink gets me. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this ink. To be perfectly honest, because it's legible without being orange, right? I've got orange covered. Yeah, that's why I like this one in the Mickey Winter Vlad. So, really, really cool. So yeah, that's my go-to yellow. I felt a little bad in Atlanta. Had a customer ink up their new pen with the 2017 Scriptus Ink Confederation Brown. They fell in love with it. Way to go. I should probably give away like my maple. I have the KWZ maple. What's the other one? They did a red one and a blue one. Oh, thank you, Cedrus. I want to look at that. Yeah, that's cool. That actually reminds me of the ink Jeff reviewed today, which is infinitely more expensive. So the Lamont Northern Twilight, I should give those two inks away. Like, I never use them. They're cool. The maple is especially cool for someone who's not a big red ink fan. The maple is especially cool, but I should just give those away. Like, I'm never going to use them. I just never choose them. So yeah, that very much looks like this ink. But this one's probably like 4 times the cost. I like it. Also smells like maple syrup, does it? No way. No, it does not. Liar. Liar. Boy Reporter is an actual reporter, which means he just lies for a living. I like to pick on Ron. All right, let's look at some pens. Or specifically some nibs. Lame stream media, am I right? Fake news. All right, so this is what we got going. Ethics in pen journalism. So we have a sampling of nibs. Smand. We have a sampling. So it's funny. My 2 needlepoint nibs here and my 2 broad nibs here, I have like a wild, crazy pen inked up and then a subtle, calm pen inked up. Isn't that funny? I'll say it again. You look fabulous. I feel fabulous. Slumber on Studio. Look good, feel good, play good. Right? I think that's how it goes. So yeah, pen show purchase. I should just call this one the Esterbrook Troublemaker because it's going to get me in trouble every time I post this because it was just a one-off prototype until they decide to make it, and then they way overcharged me for it. But maybe they're not going to make it. I don't know why. Why wouldn't you make this pen? It was dope. I don't know why you wouldn't make this pen. And then I had to figure out what nib to put my pen sloth nib in. So I haven't used an Esterbrook in a while, and I have this Menlo eyedropper with this ink window that I bought from a friend years and years and years ago. And I love this. I think this is cotton candy. Any pen roll stops that you like having on just a rolly pen? I generally don't, but I almost inked up my one roll stopper pen, which is Iron Feather Creative. He hand makes his own roll stoppers, and this is an owl one. I'll bring that in here one day, Tam Servo. I almost inked it up to match with this pen because it's the same. It's not the same material as this, but it's this dark, subtle darkness pen. Did Waring Will make a fried chicken set of inks? That is correct. I think they just came out. So this is the stacked nib. If you listen to the podcast today, you will hear me talk about it. So I inked it up. Hey, Momo. You'll like this pen. That's a Momo Esquire pen right there. So what has happened here is we have a base broad nib. And then on top of it, I don't know if Jim, I haven't talked to Jim specifically and I didn't ask. I don't know if this is welded or glued on there, how Jim does the secondary piece, right? So this is another nib piece that's been cut out and layered onto this nib, right? So you can see the edge of it right there, right? So that nib's been cut out and put up here to give you this stacking situation you see in the front, which gives you an extra large tipping. So it's basically two broad tips that are now modified. You think he welds them? I guess it looks welded right there on the back, but yeah, I can't totally tell. I'm not smart either. So you get this huge bulk of tipping up front, which allows you to do magical things with the nib. So with the Naganata Togi, I know it's hard for y'all to see here, but a lot of people refer to it as like a spear tip, right? So it tapers, right? So depending on your hand angle, you hold it up, it's a thinner line. I'll do some examples here in a second. So if you hold it more vertical, the line's thinner, and then as you lower your angle, the line becomes broader, but on the horizontal stroke, not on the vertical stroke. So we'll show that in a second. I think I'm thinking out loud here. I think I need to move my camera down a little bit more, like halfway down, just so I don't have to keep lifting things up into the camera. Always thought of it as a harpoon barb. Yeah. It's very, very much like that. You have a triple stack that's welded. Yeah. It's got to be welded, right? So there you go. So you get this huge amount of tipping up here, which allows the shape to happen. So I'll show you the difference between that and then the broad, standard broad mini Naganata Togi, which will be much harder to see on camera. So the top is more of the traditional full-size shape, and the bottom is what Matthew Chin did with just a broad tipped nib, right? Because it wasn't enough tipping to do the whole thing. Yeah, so Matthew did the single nib unit on your broad nib, right? And then both of them can write upside down on the top here. You can get a fine line out the top, or an extra fine line. I love a guy who's comfortable with a pink pen. I could have all pink pens, to be honest. This is one of my favorites. So I ended up inking it with Sailor Yamadori. And the reason why, which I'll write here in a second. The reason why I chose Yamadori is I didn't want to shimmer ink yet in this type of nib with, somehow I'm more concerned with the shimmer in this type of nib, cleaning it out with the stacking, than I am with like a standard nib like this. I don't know why. That's probably flawed thinking. It just seems like more work. And I'll eventually put a shimmer ink in it because you want the broad tip to show off all these ink colors, right? So I chose Sailor Yamadori, which has good shading and sheen. So I wanted to have something with character. So, just my standard angle, it writes like a big marker, right? So you can have a line that's this thick. And then if I turn it up, it's not quite half thickness, but almost half thickness of the line. And then if I turn it over, it's more like an extra fine. And then if I really turn it down, it gets a little bit broader. So there's kind of 4 easy to access line widths in the nib. right? So you can just change it up as you're writing to mess around with this. It is really easy to use. So like my standard handwriting is kind of like this line, these top lines. So it's a very wet, very good writer. A lot of ink flow. It's really smooth. I mean, like that seems like an obvious statement. So what it is, it's very much like an architect in that you're going to get your horizontal lines, and where it differs from an architect is since the nib is rounded, so it's basically, kind of like this, where an architect is more like this. So you can hold the tip up higher and get a thinner line. With an architect, you're just not going to get any line. So the architect will be one consistent line width all the time. This one gives you variance. It's angle dependent line width. Right? So you're not going to be able to change that around with an architect nib as much. Can you use a brass shim for fibers? Yeah, I would just be very careful. And you would have to you'd have to do it backwards, right? You would come in through the tip, right? Because you're not really going to come through like the breather hole up here, because the breather hole is kind of sealed off. So I would just be up here in the tip, working in the tip up here if I was going to do it. I wouldn't have a problem doing it though. That's not really a great architect, but the architect is more singular in shape. So you're not going to have that kind of variance. And an architect nib will be a lot sharper. Ultrasonic cleaner might be needed to get the little bits out. That's why I'm kind of avoiding shimmer now. I might eventually put a shimmer into it. How the reverse is great. It probably writes like an extra fine. And I was always hesitant. It's like, why do I want the reverse of a nib to work? But if I'm doing all of these things, like if I'm using this nib for the purpose of variation, it actually works shockingly well. How does sealing off the breather hole affect the flow? It's not affecting it at all so far. I haven't had any hard starts. I think the feed just like it gets saturated so well, and once it gets into the nib area, I don't know how it holds the ink, but it's completely saturated. Like it's really, really inky, so it's not affecting it at all. Modern nibs and feeds don't need the breather hole. Airflow is under the feed rather than the top. Gotcha. So yeah, there's the so you can see the reverse side is really good. So if I write so you can see just how gushing this ink is, like just how wet it is. Right, there is no flow problems. I haven't seen any hard starts either, but again, I've just had it inked up this morning. So you have that, and then you compare that with basically a half size of the same shape, but about half of that amount. So this is the mini Naganata Togi. So this one has line variation, but on a much smaller scale. because you don't have the big platform here that you do in this one. You don't have this whole space here. You just have about half of it. So that's more a more approachable type. That's more of an approachable type grind, right? That's like not much. That's kind of like a broad architect, but with the added line variation and smoother. Yeah, Junio, that's what I'm working through, right? That's what I've challenged myself, right, to kind of figure out, hey, do I am I able to use this type of product for my how does this product fit into how I write, right? And how I use things. So yeah, I'm thinking about that. So like I would if I was journaling, right, I wouldn't hesitate to pick up the mini. For the big one, I would really have to think about what I was doing. But it's kind of this brilliant accessory, brilliant expensive accessory to have, like a marker style fountain pen to do different things with. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with the bigger one. But I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good about it so far. It just works so well. Like, not that I didn't expect it to. Like, the bigger the nib platform, the more like smoothness and flow generally you should get, right? As opposed to if we flip it over to my needle points, it's a very, for lack of a better term, a very rigid line, right? Like it's fixed, right? It's a fixed width line. It's almost like a manifold nib, like a fixed width line. So this is where I want the camera a little bit lower. I'll have to work on that. I haven't seen Ben's new post. I will look at that. But you can see just from my handwriting that I'm used to writing like this, right? Like I don't have to think about writing like this, right? That's just how I write all the time. That's why I like those nibs. And then you compare that to these letters or these even bigger letterings. And like I'm not as happy with how the big letters look as I am with this because I use this all the time. That's the Kirk needlepoint. Yeah, the Esterbrook. Well, both of these are. I'll show you both of them. But this is the pre-made Esterbrook one. Right? This is what my handwriting is all the time. That's natural for me. This is not natural for me. Right? So I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with these things. And then this is the ground Lamy Safari one that he did. So you can see when I talk about nibs and talk about what I use, that's my natural handwriting, full speed. Standard writing. Is it close in width to the Franklin Christoph needlepoint? I'll need to get it out to test it. I need to ink up that pen. It's definitely close. It's absolutely close. But I think the one he did for me on the Safari is a little bit finer, right? But when I break out my journal, like this is what I tend to grab to write with, or my planner. Kirk and Crystal came out to the house Monday after the show, had a lot of fun showing in the Pen 101 ropes. Nice. That's awesome. So yeah, that's my normal writing. My normal day-to-day writing. So when you get this, like, can I use this for journaling? Obviously the answer is yes, but I need to think about what I'm doing. Right? Like what is the smallest I can write with this? And it's not made to write small. And it's so inky in a good way. So I'll have to consider how I'm using it. It's good for head. Yeah, like I'm really considering it to be an additive type of nib as opposed to like a primary type of nib, which is funny to say because it's extraordinarily expensive for what it is. I mean, not for what it is, but it's just a very expensive piece of kit, if you will, right? And you want to use it and you want to say, well, I spent all this money, it should be the primary thing. But like, what if it has a different job? Like, that's okay. Like, what if it does? So we just have to think about that. Peggy Love, 18 months of subbing. Thank you, Peggy. Glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. So like that's about as small as I can write with it. Of course, if I wanted to, we could just write like this. So this is so there's the flip side of the nib. I do use the needle points for the weekly layout, Skogsy. Like, I think I showed y'all this Monday or Tuesday when I started my weekly. Like that's the Safari needle point, right? Like I would never use the Naganata Togi for that, right? So it's giving me a lot to think about. That's for sure. I am anything that makes me think and makes me want to like pick it up and test, right? Anything that will fire off things in my brain that aren't the normal things are good, right? So like it's good. Now we work on figuring out, is there more? What's the bigger picture idea with it? Things like that. Hobonichi would need an A4 size for that pen. Yeah, for sure. So we can do little things. So that's two similar kinds of nibs, but just different sizes of the same nib. Oops. And you do something like this with the needle. Like I love this feedback on this needle. Like you can, when you go slow, you can really feel the page, which I think a lot of people wouldn't like, but I know Carol likes it. But when you're going slow like this and maybe have the nib a little sideways, it's a little bouncy. But when I write with it, you don't really notice it. And this is the Roshizuku Sutsuki that I just bought. It's a really good hot pink, which I love. And I like to just doodle like this, making lines. Y'all have seen me do the lines for my ink reviews, little line art stuff. I just like, I don't know, it's just kind of mindless stuff for me. Yeah, that era. I'm surprised how much, so much I got it. I so wish you would zoom way in. Yeah, I think I'm gonna work on that, Aurelius. I don't want to do it right now because I'll mess up everything and it'll just be a pain in the butt. I agree with you, Aurelius, that I need to do that to move this down, right? Because you can't even see like what these lines look like. So I want to get it more and be about in this range, so I don't have to lift it up and move it around and stuff like that. And this is the plotter paper. I'll show you something about why I like this paper so much. And why maybe one day I'll break down and get the small one. So y'all saw how inky. Oh yeah, totally Aurelius. So all right, see you in a computer, Vlad. So you saw like how wet the big letters are. That's the back of the page, right? That's how. I wish I was channeling Mondrian. That's how good this paper is. Like, we'll just go ahead and color like a big block on here. So this is, again, like you can just buy the plotter paper loose. You don't have to buy the plotter system. This could be a good ink testing pen. You just have to clean it out every time. So like, it's wet. It gives good color, good shading, good sheen. See Aurelius, but no feathering, no bleed whatsoever. So I would just as soon have a notebook full of this as Tomoe River paper, right? It's a little bit. You still get a lot of the features, like you can see. I guess still got to work on the lighting in here. It's a little bit darker. My camera probably just needs to be adjusted, but you can see a little bit of the red sheen in the Naganata Togi and the blue, and then some of the shading. How's the cost by volume? It's a better cost by volume than the planner covers. They're still not cheap. They're cheaper than you think, but you're getting. I think you can get like 80 A5 sheets for $8. Less than 10 for 80 A5 sheets. They just come in a pad though, right? They're not. I mean, they're. When you look at the system as a whole, you're like, man, this is expensive. The paper is actually the cheap part. So you can see maybe the sheen here. So it's got like full sheen. Yeah, they don't have a bright white. Yeah. This isn't as ivory or creamy as some other ones. Some other papers. So really enjoy it. And they have dot grid and they have 2mm grid and they have blank. So you can see it works for wide nibs or fine nibs, right? So I don't know. I can't recommend it enough, but it's also generally designed for a system. All right, last pen I'll talk about, and then we'll do a giveaway, and then I'm gonna head out. If you listen to the podcast, y'all already know this if y'all were here yesterday. If y'all listen to the podcast, that's probably my favorite pen that I got at the show. Just from a feel perspective, right? Just from like how it fits my hand, the combination of, it's called Plotter. So go to Plotter USA. Is it plotterusa.com? That color is so sick in person, yeah. So when you hear the podcast today, you'll hear me discuss this pen, and it's not just the pen shape, it's not just the color, it's not just the ink, it's not just the nib. It's how I put all of these things together to manufacture a like kind of a perfect setup for me, right? Like I kind of got to pick all these things, so you're like building it all out for your own personal use. Any new things from Spoke soon? No, we're having some manufacturing delays right now. So, it is what it is. We're trying. And this is a different nib than all of these. So, this is more of like, in general, a cursive italic, but it's got a lot more. Yes, design fill is part of Midori. No, I think you might be right. It might be design. Midori might be part of design fill. So they do Knox, Design Fill, a couple other Japanese only brands. So yeah, it's really, really good. But the plotter paper is the most easily accessible. This is a number 6 nib and a model 46, yeah. Traveler's paper is different though. But same umbrella company, yes. So you'll see this is the one nib that's wider on the downstroke and then thinner on the cross strokes, which so you can see once you start learning about nibs, that's like my normal fast handwriting. Like you can see how beneficial it is to my handwriting style, right? Why I like that style of nib so much. My block printing works good with that type of nib. That's just like my basic I don't care writing. Purple axle is super hard to get, rare purple axle. If you ever see one of those, you should jump on it. So yeah, we're gonna be using we're gonna keep this nib in the rotation. The other good thing about this nib is if I continue to use it, I'll go through ink a lot faster, which I like. I like experimenting. Like I won't with this nib. This nib doesn't have an ink that is always going to be in it, right? We're going to continue to experiment with it. Like I like what I picked the first time, but we're going to continue to experiment and see what it's about. So there you go, Brad's nib playtime. So I'll take some more pictures. I will work on getting this camera closer to the page. We'll work on that. Broke down and got Water Mysterious Blue from Van Ness. I love that stupid ink, man. Like, there is nothing wrong. That could be, like, it's really close. It could be, like, the only ink some people have. Like, it's that good. I just never use it. Like, I'm going to use it in my Elwood once I'm going to use the cartridges in my Elwood and just keep that in there once I use out this Deep Sea cartridge, which I'm only about halfway through that. That Elwood is such an enjoyable writer. I really like that pen too. All right, let's do a giveaway, and then I'm gonna go eat lunch and go to the shipping department, and I gotta write the par post. I've written most of it. So the Pen Addict rating post that I send out for members, that will hit your inboxes this afternoon. So be looking for that, but it's gonna be late this afternoon as I get caught up on things. All right, let's what are we gonna give away? Oh, we should give away that Rickshaw pen sleeve from yesterday. A par 10, it's not even a grade. We could have a 20. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know that we're going to get a 20. Right? Like, that's where the bias comes in. Is like, I don't have products that suck that bad. I'm gonna have to do some digging. What is the par? It's called a Pen Addict rating. It's a project I'm doing for Pen Addict members where each week-ish, stone paper. Yeah, Wopex, stone paper. I'm trying to think of things I have. Oh, what's getting rated this week? Lamy Pico. I was reaching over here to grab it. Lamy Pico. So yeah, we'll have to think about that. All right, I'm gonna give away that rickshaw pen sleeve that we found yesterday from Carolina Pens, Jonathan Brooks. Since I will use, I don't really use individual sleeves, so the sleeve you gave me, Brooks, for this one, we're gonna give it away, no pen included. But it's a cool pen case, and y'all should have it. I have my Pico with me at the office today. Awesome. So, yeah, there you go. You can win this back and then regift it. These are really nice pen cases that Jonathan has made by Rickshaw with the soft sleeve. So we're going to give this sleeve away because I will never use it in this situation. But they're great. All right. All right, let's give this away. 1 second. All right. So, exclamation point Raffle. I guess I didn't really need to be on that screen, did we? Exclamation point Raffle. Anyone can enter to win. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a follower. You don't have to be awesome. I would hope you're awesome since you're here. So I am pro awesomeness. You do have to be present to win. That is a requirement. I don't know what else we need though. Oh, we will. I know what we're doing today. Yeah, where did they go? We didn't hook them quick enough. They didn't get to see them all the magic nibs we had. That would be funny though. All right, y'all got about 30 seconds left for the pin sleeve giveaway. Oh, let me get my note. I have been talking too much today, chat. Hopefully this is the last round of pollination we're going to get. I'm feeling it. Feeling it today. And I got, if you were here yesterday and won something, I saw some of y'all in here. I will be shipping that stuff out today. Killer Sheep, are you in here? By chance, separate question for you. If you are here. Toby's allergies are bad. He's been overly scratchy. Sometimes we give him Benadryl. We haven't right now, but we probably should. All right, let's pick a winner. Kelsey. Second time winner. Kelsey. I'm going to use the new nib. I'm pretty sure Kelsey has won before. At least once. Z. All right, Kelsey, you here? You here? You do have to be present to win. Ink, therefore I am. Yours will be checked. Third time winner, Kelsey. Awesome. Email me. If you email me like in the next hour, I'll have it shipped today. Winner, winner, winner. So check out all the new emotes. Still waiting for my first. Therefore, you are in the 0 win club, which we can do like that. We might get that one updated since y'all are having a hard time reading it. We can do that because we're gonna go raid Sleepy Bird Art themselves. So here's what I want. We're gonna do a raid to the person that created my emotes, this recent batch of emotes. And when you go in there, I want y'all to spam all the new emotes that you can because it's her artwork, right? So y'all do that for me. Get your emotes ready when we go see Sleepy Bird art. And all the new emotes, I think she'll get a kick out of that. She was hanging out in here yesterday and had a good time. All right. Thank y'all all so much. Y'all go thank Sleepy Bird for the emotes, and y'all have a good day.